Welcome to Jody's Corner. We are live. Snow White ain't doing so well. Snow White has been out for, where are we at? Friday? It's been out for a whole week, and it still hasn't made $100 million. Yeah, it still hasn't made $100 million. Not domestically in this country, but worldwide. Snow White still across the globe, the earth, Asia. What are the continents? Let's see if I remember. You got your North and your South America. You got your Antarctica. You got your Australia. You got your whole continent of Europe, Africa, and did I say Asia? I think Asia's the last one. You got all of them continents, and it's 8 billion people, and you still ain't made $100 million across the earth, and you've been out a whole week. Snow White is one of the biggest flops. In fact, I believe Snow White is the biggest flop in Disney live action history. Snow White is that bad. Now, how can something so beloved from the 20s or 30s be so hated? How can something so classic? Because even though Snow White is not my favorite Disney princess, I don't know what you guys got as your favorite Disney princess. For me, it's Belle. It's by far and a long way Belle. I want to marry Belle. I want to be her beast. You know what I'm saying? But, fairy tales and all. It's Belle for me, number one, always and forever. Will always be. And for me, even though I was a Belle, I see Snow White and I respect it. Like, Snow White's a princess. She's not the cutest. She's not the greatest because she's the oldest. She's the first. But I never disliked Snow White. Why does the world have so much animosity, so much disdain and hate for something that's so pure and so innocent like Snow White? Well, a lot of it has to do with the first thing. Before we have even seen a trailer, and this is where it happens, because unfortunately Gal had to speak the words. They remember seeing at D23 this.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that
she's not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was.
That doesn't sound good to me. Gal said she's not being saved by the prince. That's when there's a big difference. No man is coming to save her. She's not looking for true love. Well, that's the story of Snow White, isn't it? And it's sad to see that Gal is the one that said that, like, you know what I'm saying? And in her defense, in Gal's defense, which I gotta do, right? Because I know the truth. Gal's not really for that, but she's playing the machine game, but she said something she shouldn't have said. Gal is for real feminism, which is equal, you know what I'm saying? Men and women equal. They did it with the Wonder Woman movement, said that boys should be involved as well. It's for everyone. But this chick right here uses her politics and her freaking fake woke agenda-based ideology to help ruin the film. And the film is absolutely ruined. Saying that a prince is not coming is trash in my opinion, because who wants to see that? Princess stories always involve a prince. You know what? Even princess stories in real life, princesses get with princes and queens get with kings. This is the way civilization has worked for thousands of years. So why would you want to change that up? It doesn't make sense. And then she said it earlier here. She's not looking for love.
About true love. She's dreaming
Saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can.
Okay. This was way back before we even got a trailer. So they're kind of in cahoots together. Gal and Rachel are saying the same thing, the same ideology, both which I think is trash and I don't agree with, bro. That's what a lot of fans have seen that said, oh no, I ain't watching this, bro. Already you have eliminated a lot of classic Snow White fans who wanted to see a prince. That kiss is freaking epic. It's everything. But it's not going to be in this movie. Oh, no true love? Well, dang, some of these Disney love stories are about love. They're called love stories. So what the heck am I watching if it's not a love story? $93.9 million globally is the only thing that it has, which is god awful. This is like flop, bomb, omega. It's a flop, a bomb, a disaster. All those bad things that you hear about certain movies that aren't really bombs, flop, and disasters. This one very much is that bomb, flop, disaster. This deserves it, warrants it, and earns it. Moving on. Here's where this was, like I said, that was before the trailers and all that stuff came out. During the production, during the set, from what I've heard, is that Gal and Rachel did not get along. Gal and Rachel don't get along because of their ideologies. And just recently here, we're looking at this article. Gal Gadot is an Israeli actress, has been outspoken of her support of Israel since Hamas's October 7th attack. The Anti-Defamation League's annual summit, they held it this year in New York City on March 4th. Gal Gadot was being honored. Here's what Gal Gadot said. She said, never, quote, never did I imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world, we would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating and justifying and cheering on a massacre of Jews. Never did she see that she would see people promoting Hamas and the Palestine and Hamas, death to the Jews. And Gal's is an Israeli Jew. So obviously, and me looking outside of it, who's neither Israeli nor Jew, she's right. The October 7th attack was terrible. They came into their city, slaughtered people, and it was an evil act. And Hamas is trash. Nothing wrong with that here. But things got really bad. Rachel Zegler dropped a post that said, I love you all so much. Thank you for the love and for the over 120 million views on our trailer in just 24 hours. What a whirlwind. I am in the thick of rehearsals for Romeo and Juliet, so I'm going to get out of here. Bye for now. Oh, and she says, always remember, free Palestine. Uh-oh. Now she's saying some things that are in direct conflict with what Gal believes in. So here we have a Rachel Zegler who is free Palestine, and Gal who is, protect Israel, protect the Jews. And now we have a clash in politics, ideology, religion, whatever, however, wherever they fall into it. This is bad. And now they working together, having to do promo sets together. So everything that Gal said, once again, let's go back to it. Let's go back to what Gal said. Never did I imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world would I see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering on a massacre of Jews. And then you got Rachel over here saying, always remember, free Palestine. Whew. Talk about that. That's a big matzo ball. A matzo ball just hanging out there, just looking weird and feeling weird. So that's like, oh my God, that's not good. So that didn't work out behind the scenes, right? Then we actually, like I said, we got the trailer. Now let's take a look at the trailer. Let's see how you guys feel about the trailer. This was the trailer that they said, come watch our movie.
This was my father's kingdom. A place of fairness. But the queen changed everything.
Take him away.
Your Majesty,
What did you say?
the people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, Majesty. But a lovely maiden I now behold.
I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them all.
The queen is evil. You must flee into the woods.
My parents always said this forest was a magical place. Hello? Is there anybody here?
No. You got CGI elves because you don't want to be like Peter Dinklage said, you know, we got to protect the little people. Bro, all of that, how many sneezy, sleepy, happy, dopey, grumpy, bashful, dark? 7 dwarves. That's 7 little people that could have got a job, my dude. What are we doing? You took 7 jobs from little people and gave it to CGI artists. That shit is cringe. How freaking awesome would it have been to see actual little people being the dwarves? One of the times where it's not pretty that unless they make another freaking Willy Wonka, you could get some little people to get some work. Or Wizard of Oz or some shit. But no. Finally, we have a chance to give little people jobs, and you made them CG and made them look weird. They look weird. They don't look right.
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing.
Ghost.
You'll be safe from the queen here.
The queen stole everything from all of us. I'm gonna need your help. It's time to restore our kingdom.
Waiting on a wish, holding out for someday, hoping somehow, some way, there comes a miracle.
Find Snow White.
I close my eyes and see the girl I meant to be.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
You were saying?
I'm sorry, my dear. Did I frighten you?
They tried their best to make Gal look unattractive. And even at their best with that bad makeup and that dark skin, that dark makeup, they couldn't do it. Snow White, you're supposed to have the story of Snow White with, in a nutshell, is the basis of the queen's motivation is that Snow White is beautiful and young and she wants that beauty. And the queen is supposed to be jealous of her youth and beauty. Bro, once again, let's go back to D23. Y'all tell me who's more beautiful here.
Not gonna be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be, and the leader that her late father told her that she could be if she was fearless, fair, brave, and true. And so it's just a really incredible story for, I think, young people everywhere to see themselves in.
Snow White is running for president.
I'm launching my campaign. I am.
Gal got her lapped by a couple of miles. And she doesn't look bad. She's not ugly. But there's some still shots in the movie where I was like, all right, bro. You cast the more attractive, beautiful woman to be the ugly queen. and the least attractive one to be Snow White, who doesn't want to be saved by a prince, which means I'm questioning your sexuality already. I've never seen the Snow White live action, and I probably never will. Like, maybe if it comes for free, where I don't have to pay anything for it, not even a Disney Plus subscription. If I take a flight somewhere and they show it on the flight, maybe I'll watch it then. But I'm willing to wager her sexuality could come into question. She could be bi. Snow White could definitely be, she could be LGBTQ for all I know. No prince coming to save. She could be 100%, she could be a lesbian for all I know. Because they're real subtle at doing that. They're real good at doing that. And you could tell they did that with Moana 2. There's a character in Moana 2 that was a crafter and a really good builder. And she's clearly a stud. But they toned it down and I could tell they made some changes. Because that character in Moana 2, y'all know who I'm talking about, was definitely LGBTQ. But they understood that don't do that here. And they backed off on it. But here she is saying, free Palestine. There's issues with the trailer. We have issues with the fact that the freaking dwarves, you can't even get real dwarves, real little people, real midgets, whatever you want to call them. You can't even get the real people to come and do the roles that they could do the best. Then you add this shit that she said. Rachel Zegler didn't stop there. She said some crazy things on social media. And I'm trying to see where that is. I thought I had this here. Interesting. Where did you go? Okay, maybe it's down here. Yeah. So here is Jonah Platt is the son who has a podcast, right? He has a podcast and he's the son of the producer on the Snow White movie. Somebody in the comment section said, oh, you got your dad over here reprimanding Rachel to tell her to shut her mouth during the promotion of the film. Because Rachel's going all over the place, have all these lenses in her face, and she's saying all these horrendous things. And Mark Platt is the producer. He blames Zegler for the film underperforming in a now deleted Instagram post. Here's what the son said. He said, my dad, the producer of an enormous piece of Disney IP, Snow White, with hundreds of millions of dollars on the line, had to leave his family, fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which she has signed a multi-million-dollar contract to get paid and do publicity for. This is called adult responsibility and accountability. Her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. That's the son talking about his dad having to come and tell her, like, yo, you're saying like crazy stuff out here. She also said some pretty shocking things about the Trump organization. And when the elections went off, let me see if I can open it here. Where is she at? Where is it? She issued an apology for a recent social media post. Following Trump's win in the 2024 election, the 23-year-old Snow White star took to Instagram to share her candid reaction. She said, "There's a deep sickness in this country. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace." That's kind of odd to me. Wait a minute. Let's go back to her. Always remember, free Palestine. No peace? You're saying may Trump supporters and the voters and Trump never know peace and saying free Palestine. Palestinians are upset and their issue is no freedom, no peace. You diabolical skeezer. This type of stuff right here is the bullshit that people had to watch for 18 months before this movie came out. I was sure this movie was going to flop because of this. A lot of you guys knew the movie was going to flop because of this. How are you so contradictory to the point where, remember, free Palestine, to the point where when Trump wins the election, I hope none of you. Well, let's read that passion. That shit's villainous. It's villainous. There's a deep sickness in this country. May Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. You wishing hell and damnation on all those people forever. May you never know peace. May you never know it. That's some villainy, tyranny. That's diabolical, sinister. That's something that evil villains say in freaking these movies. That's something that the Queen would say in Snow White. You being an op. This is what happens, man. Politics enrage people to be sick and evil on both sides. This is a little 20-something-year-old girl spewing this type of filth. And we, for 18 months, had to sit back and wait for this movie to come out, knowing that we know we wasn't going to go see it. We knew we were not going to go see this movie. Of course, Snow White flopped. Of course, Snow White is the worst live-action box office performer in Disney live-action history, and will hold that record likely for years and years to come. She knew what she said was evil. She has since backtracked her post, admitting that she let her what? Oh, she let her emotions get the best of her. She says, my emotions got the best of me. Hi, everyone. I would like to sincerely apologize for the election post that I shared on Instagram last week. I let my emotions get the best of me. Hatred and anger have caused us to move further away from peace and understanding, and I am sorry I contributed to the negative discourse. And it makes me think about what Gal represents. It makes me think about what she's about. She's sitting here sharing the screen with a brat that speaks bullshit and nonsense. She's sharing the screen with somebody that is completely opposite from her.
Incredible, because it was all real prosthetics and all of that.
You were in the chair for like 4 hours.
4 hours and changing the voice and everything. I feel so lucky that I got to play something that is so fun.
I'm not sure that if Gal knew that she felt this way about the murder of Jews and about the war and about how she wants no peace to half of the country, I don't think that Gal would have even been in this scene with her right now.
From what I know and what I'm used to, and I super enjoyed every second of it.
You said you were bringing a modern edge to it on stage. What do you mean by that?
I just mean that it's no longer 1937, and we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader.
And I gotta say, Gal, that's a very trash thing to say. She's not gonna be. It's a fact. Like, she knew the script. She's not gonna be saved by the prince, but she said it with such vigor and gusto, like she was happy about it, smiling about it, and that's whack. Especially knowing that you were Wonder Woman. You made the campaign that, oh, it's about women, girls and boys can enjoy Wonder Woman. We want everybody to come in. But then you say this, it's contradictory to that. And it makes me think like, okay, so you're willing to swift a little bit on, depending on which team you're on, because maybe Patty was the one that instilled that in you. Maybe Patty was moving forward with the, oh yeah, we're going to make it about girls and boys. I want everybody to be involved. Even though Patty understands and knows that there's a lot of men in freaking Hollywood that don't respect women and don't give women the time, and she's a boundary setter, and she's pushing the boundaries and stuff like that, and she understands the disparity between men and women in Hollywood. You can't be saying stuff like that as Wonder Woman. You can't be saying stuff like that. That's not what people want to hear. I sure didn't want to hear it. It's very much hypocritical. So that's me keeping it a buck, saying that I don't like that. But that's the only thing that she said about this that I didn't like. Most of it, everything else is on her. Rachel freaking Ziegler. You combine the fact that she wanted no peace and damnation. And if you don't want peace, what do you want? Chat. If you don't want peace, what do you want? War? Chaos? Death? Violence? These are all of the things that are antitheses of peace. No peace doesn't necessarily mean war, but it definitely means, it could mean violence, it could mean evil, it could mean devastation, chaos, anarchy. If you wish anarchy, devastation, chaos, evil, war, pick whatever one you want on half of the United States of America because of politics, you don't want a prince to come and save you. You don't want this to be about love. You want to free Palestine, which is great. Free them, sure. You do not want to have any shred of accountability for the things that you said. And then you look at the material. The trailers was whack, bruh. The trailers were sauce. We're talking about bad trailers. You've got dwarves, little people in there, but they're CG, and you won't even hire little people for some fake woke ideology agenda that little people don't want to be in little people roles. What the freak? Peter Dinklage is trash. Y'all little people need to come out and throw Peter Dinklage to the slums of freaking Westeros, bro, because you should not let him represent you. He's costing y'all money. It's easy for him to try to say, oh, I'm the spokesman because I was in Game of Thrones. Bro, he's costing y'all bread. Peter Dinklage is trash, bro. And then I see the way he treats one of his people, bro.
She knows she can be.
I saw the way Peter Dinklage, real quick, we deviating a little bit, but I want y'all to see this, bro. There was a woman who her son went to go see Peter Dinklage. A son took the mom to see Peter Dinklage on the red carpet because she's a Peter Dinklage fan, and she's also a little person, bro. And the way Peter Dinklage treated her, bro, was trash. Oh my God, where's that video? Here it is. This is the short version. There's a longer version where it shows it, but it was like, bro. Curved. You see her? You see her? She had to come to you. Look, he's still trying to go. That motherfucker Dinklage saw her and was like, He was like, trying to move on. And she was like, man, I know you see me. She walked over to him to where he can't dodge her. And he was still trying to move like, oh, nice to see you, huh? Okay. Take a little photo. Man, Dinklage is trash. Anyway, you had all that stuff to it. That's why Snow White flopped. Talk to me, bro. Open these phone lines up. Feel free to come and talk to me, 323-801-8059. Why did Snow White flop? I want to know what you think. Why Snow White flop? Let's go ahead and go to the first caller. You live with Jody Joe. Talk to me. Stupid Flash. Talk to me. You live.
What's up? It's Josh.
What up with it, Josh?
Well, man, I can say that even though I thought the acting was, I saw the movie, so I can say the
Oh, you
acting
saw it?
for me
Okay.
was like,
How was it?
yeah, I saw it. I think the acting was the worst part of it. Like,
Okay.
it's not like leaving aside the bad CGI for the dwarves and all this stuff.
Uh-huh.
It was mainly the acting. Like, Gal is amazing. She seems like a very nice person, but she can't act, bro. Like, I didn't like her acting. I liked Segler's acting way more than Gal's in this movie.
Okay.
And that's saying a lot. And I'm being honest, because
Why is that saying a lot?
it was just horrendous. Because it was just horrendous, in my opinion. Like, she can't act. Like, her part of the witch, I don't think she was... She might have been up for the role, maybe if she had a better script. But based on what I saw, like, she just didn't act the part right. Like,
So
just
she was.
the way that she...
So she was horrible.
Mhm. I wouldn't say horrible. It's just that it fell off. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't... maybe it's because I really liked the original, so maybe I was focusing too much on how the original witch is portrayed in the original animated movie.
Uh-huh.
But I just think that with Disney's, crap put all over it, like, the movie was just bad. And, again, Peter Dinklage with his, stupid comments about...
What else about Snow White? Wait, what else about Snow White didn't you like? Because based on what you just said the movie was bad because Gal can't act. That can't be the only reason why it was bad.
No, I didn't say. I said, like, for me, that was like the most off-putting part of the movie.
So the worst part of Snow White was Gal's acting, not the script, not the fact that there were no real dwarves, not the fact that there was no prince to come and save. The timeless classic changes to the story of Snow White means less to you than Gal's bad acting.
I agree with you. Like, those were definitely elements. But for me, as me watching the movie, that was the thing about the movie that just threw me the most off. It was Gal's
Not the fact that the story was
Again,
completely different?
Because I already went into the movie knowing that part was going to be bad already.
Okay.
Like, I tried to go into the movie with a clean perspective. Like, okay, I know they already ruined these couple of things. I'm just going to try to, I guess, analyze the movie and, criticize it based on what I can see. And based on what I saw, it was strictly Gal's acting that really put me off. Again, Zegler did have her scenes where she didn't act it that well. But personally, I would say that Gal was definitely the part of the movie where I can say, okay, this was just not a good casting at all. And she can act in certain roles. I think she was ready for
No. Why? But so you already knew. So based off, because I haven't seen the movie, that's why I'm listening to what you're saying. And based off what I'm hearing you say, is that the movie's bad because Gal can't act because you already knew the story was going to be bad.
Basically, yeah. But again, like, I don't want to say that just
that's a lot.
Gal's acting was what was putting me off. I would say, out of what I saw, right, just judging it based on what I saw, that was one of the elements, or even the most element,
the highest,
threw me completely off.
Okay.
And again, I think it was, but I don't want to blame fully Gal for this. I think it was just the script and that specific part that just did not fit her.
Do you know what I mean? Do you think that Gal's bad acting is the reason why the movie flopped?
Nah, not at all. Not at all. I think it might have been a small component, but overall, I think the way. So
what is the main factor that we blame for Snow White flopping? Where are we at with that? With you?
I would say the way that Disney changed the story. I would put that as the primary factor. Because again, like, I can criticize the movie and say that what I saw, I did not like Gal's acting, but overall, I 100% blame Disney for not following. They could have just, if they wanted a success, Jody, they just had to remake the original animated movie. It was perfect. That movie started Disney as we know it in terms of animation. I don't understand why they changed.
I don't agree with you. I don't agree with you. I understand the story is a thing, but I think that the promotion and Rachel's trashness is what bombed that movie. That's where I'm putting it on, based off of everything that I've said before, because you can't basically alienate people. You when you alienate half the country, your movie's not probably going to do well. And if we look at the facts that we have here, once again, I'll go over it. He talked about the producer on Snow White. He said, my dad, the producer on Snow White, had to leave his family to fly across the country to reprimand his 20-year-old son employee for dragging her personal politics into the middle of promoting the movie for which he signed a multi-million-dollar for to get paid to do publicity for. This is called responsibility and accountability. Her actions clearly hurt the film's box office. This is the son of the producer who said that the producer of Snow White had to fly to see Rachel to tell her to shut the freak up. You're ruining the production of the movie.
I agree with you on that sense, Jody, but here's my perspective. Think about somebody who didn't listen to what Segler said. Just a random, normal person. If they saw that trailer, do you think they would be motivated to go and watch that movie?
It depends on what type of person. Are we talking about a general audience member? Absolutely.
General audience member.
Yes.
Nah, I disagree with that. I think
you're underestimating how dumb the general audience is. They'll eat this shit up.
But I'm gonna give you the example of my mom. My mom is just a general audience member, and she saw the trailer, and she immediately said, "This does not feel like Snow White."
She's not a general audience member. You just admitted she's a Snow White fan. She knows Snow White. She's a fan.
No. She's an animation fan. I don't think she's particularly just a fan of Snow White or anything like that.
Sure she is. You just told me that your mom called it out and said this is not Snow White. That's her being critical. That's her being a fan.
Yeah, but you gotta think about this. Snow White is probably one of the most watched animated movies of all time. Like, people know this character, even at a surface level. Like, I don't think you're gonna find just a regular person that doesn't even know who Snow White is.
Right.
Like,
so what? Okay.
One of the biggest characters in animation.
What about her makes her not Snow White? Looking at her, she looks like Snow White to me. That's not Snow White.
I guess, you haven't watched the movie, but if you watch the movie, just see how.
No, I'm talking about your mom. I'm talking about your mom who saw the trailer, who said that's not Snow White. There's Snow White in the dress, the elves, the gnomes, the Wicked Queen look like Snow White to me.
I can talk for myself. I did not feel Snow White when I watched the trailer, but that's just me. I guess I wasn't too fond of Rachel playing the part, regardless of what she said. I still don't think she was fair for the role. Same thing with Gal. But again, those are just my $2.
The general audience seeing this trailer definitely will go see the film, because we talked about it a couple days ago. The Infinity War people are going to gas Doomsday already. They already love it because the general it's the same thing. They love Doomsday already without seeing nothing from it but the cast. Fandom's general audiences are stupid. Most general audience members are dumb. This is the way that the companies think of them. Mindless puppets that could be swayed. The general audience can be swayed whichever direction you push them in. And a trailer sways the general audience. This makes you want to come. If I'm not mistaken, wait a minute. There's 16 million views on it, and overall there was 140 million views across all the socials for the trailer.
But that's the thing, though. People are not showing up to watch the movie. That's why it's flopping. So it's like the general audience is not showing up to watch the movie.
Why do you think?
That counts
and why? And you're blaming the trailer for that, not the nasty things that she said about people.
The way that Disney chose to portray, to adapt this movie. I'm not blaming the. I think I agree with you. I think Segler's, mouthing definitely affected the movie going in. But I think that was just a component of it.
Nobody knows about Disney's adaptation. No one knows what Disney's plans are. People are not in the know like that. That's why I said general audience. 90% of the people that go see Snow White don't know that the story's changed. They don't, but they do know that this woman said these political things about it. A middle America household may not have even seen the trailer of Snow White, but if they see it, oh, Snow White's coming out, we'll watch it. But the middle America family definitely seen on the news, on social media, that this girl who's playing Snow White said, free Palestine, all the Republicans, Trump supporters, I wish you have no peace. They definitely seen that shit.
No, I agree with you. Definitely, a huge part of the audience, got dissuaded by that. But I personally think that even before she started talking, people were not looking at this movie like, oh, they were just seeing it as another remake or live-action remake that Disney's going to ruin.
Yeah.
I think that was a lot of people's mentality going into it already. But I do agree, definitely, if it's something that threw that movie off a cliff, was definitely what she said, what Dinklage said. Even, some people were, they were even, and then the Disney executives were saying as well. So it was kind of like a combination of things. But I do agree with you. I'm not saying that, her bad-mouthing didn't affect the movie at all. I think it was definitely a big component of it. But I personally think that people went into this movie knowing that Disney was going to ruin another good animated remake. And
based off of what you said to be the trailer, though.
No, I just said again, like the general feeling of the trailer. If I saw that, even if I slightly knew what Snow White was about, that did not feel like Snow White to me.
You know what didn't feel?
A lot of people saw that trailer.
I know what you're saying, but clearly it's Snow White. I know what you mean by feel like Snow White. I guess I understand that, but you can argue that same thing about Maleficent. You can argue that same thing about the live action Beauty and the Beast. That shit was jarring to look at.
Yeah.
All right, so that Beauty and the Beast trailer looked nothing like the Beauty and the Beast that I know. Yet it made $1 billion. Why?
Maybe I don't remember. Was that the movie that Emma Watson?
Yes. Yes, and that horrible looking beast. That horrible looking CG beast. Emma Watson, you think Emma Watson's really bro? That beast looked trash. That trailer was like, the teaser was amazing, but the trailer it showed the things, and I was like, dang, this shit don't look like. It still made over $1 billion. Imagine if Emma Watson said, now, imagine if Emma Watson said the things that Rachel Zegler said. Do you think that movie would have made $1 billion?
Oh, no, not at all. I agree with you.
But we could agree that the trailers were kind of jarring and didn't seem like the counterpart, the animation counterparts.
Let me ask you this. Do you think that, I don't remember that trailer very well, but you might. Do you think that by watching that original Beauty and the Beast trailer, even if the Beast CGI was not good, that it still feel like a Beauty and the Beast movie?
Yes.
In general, for a general movie. Okay, then
absolutely.
That was
Bro, this feels like Snow White, bro. I don't know where you want to go down, what road you're going down, but I watched this trailer. It looks and feels like Snow White, just whack.
I again, this is coming from somebody who likes the original animated movie. It did not feel Snow White to me. But again, I might be biased.
I want you to tell me what about this trailer doesn't feel Snow White.
I mean, I don't remember off my head, but I do know there's like a line at the beginning of the trailer. I forgot when she said something about the.
No, we can rewatch it. We can watch it. Turn the stream on. We're gonna rewatch the trailer right now.
Yeah, let me see if I can. Okay, sure. Let me pull up the stream here.
Yeah,
okay.
We're gonna rewatch this motherfucker, and you're gonna tell me what about this don't feel like Snow White.
Gotcha.
This was my father's kingdom, a place of fairness, but the Queen changed everything.
Take him away!
Your Majesty.
What did you say?
The people need some kindness.
You know, I really don't remember you being this opinionated.
Magic mirror on the wall. Who is the fairest of them all?
Famed is thy beauty, majesty.
Look like Snow White to me.
But the lovely maiden I now behold.
I look at you, and I just want to be the fairest of them all.
The Queen is evil. You must flee into the woods.
My parents always said this forest was a magical place. Hello? Is there anybody here?
It's a human.
What did you think I was?
Nothing.
Ghost.
You'll be safe.
Nothing. Ghost.
You'll be safe from the Queen here.
The Queen stole everything from all of us. We're gonna need your help. It's time to restore our kingdom.
Waiting on a wish, holding out for someday, hoping somehow, some way, there comes a miracle.
Find Snow White.
I close my eyes and see the girl I meant to be.
This is our kingdom, and now we're here to take it back.
You were saying I'm sorry, my dear. Did I frighten you?
Now you're going to have to convince me of how that trailer we just saw, trash or not, I think the trailer's whack.
Just out of the blue,
how it doesn't feel like Snow White and look like Snow White.
That part where she says that she's the girl who never wants something. She said something about, like wanting to be something greater or something. I don't remember exactly the line that she just said. That right there already showed me that Disney was putting some of their agenda in the movie. And the part where Gal says at the beginning, "Oh, I didn't know you were that opinionated," or something like that. It just already, that kind of dialogue, you can immediately tell that Disney's going to be putting a message in the movie. And I know it might not seem like a lot, but again,
yes, I agree with that.
Is acting as,
I agree with what you just said.
The part where you see, where she's acting as Snow White, again, when you look at the original movie,
you're supposed to tell me. You need to tell me why this trailer did not feel and look like a Snow White trailer. What about that trailer didn't feel and look like Snow White? You talking about those 2 words of dialogue? But that's a whole trailer. All the magic mirror on the wall, the witch. This shit look on point, right? The little face and the shit. Who sees that and doesn't see Snow White?
We have different approaches on how we. Okay, for me, I'm not just looking at. I mean, if you ask me, does it look like a magical movie or something like? Yeah, I can say sure. You got the dwarf, you got the witch. It has elements. I'm not saying it's fully just.
I'm gonna challenge you right now to do some critique. Which character was the worst character in the movie? Take the actresses out of it. Whose character felt like they didn't belong or didn't do that much of an effective job to the story?
To the story, okay. It's just that Disney.
Which character did you not like the most?
Based on acting, Gals. But if y'all were going to talk without the acting involved,
I didn't ask you acting. That's why take the acting. You're stuck on Gal and acting. I need I don't want to make an assumption, but I have one of you. You want to put the blame on Gal. So let's not do that. I asked you the characters. Which of the characters is the worst to you?
Snow White, for sure.
Okay. Now we're getting somewhere. You just revealed that the character Snow White is the biggest problem.
Like, for me, again, maybe, like I said, I was thrown off by Gal's bad acting. But that didn't make me... Is
bad acting of a character worse than a bad character?
No, I agree. The bad character is way worse. I agree with you.
Yet you got Gal as the worst. Look, here we go. You admitted clearly a bad character is worse than a character playing a character poorly. But you got Gal as number 1 though.
Agree.
But why you have Gal number 1? The acting.
I said her acting threw me off the most. But that doesn't mean
Snow White not being Snow White would throw you off the most? Isn't that clearly like
but it wasn't the acting though. Because he wasn't the acting. I don't think Rachel Zegler did a bad job acting-wise based on the script she was giving. I think the character was completely, trashed in terms of, how Snow White is supposed to be based on the original animated film.
Okay.
But, based on what I was watching, how the characters interacting with each other, every time Gal's witch portrayal came on screen, her lack of acting ability sort of came out a little bit.
Okay.
But again, in terms of whose character was, I guess, portrayed the worst in terms of, how Disney wanted the character to be portrayed, I would say definitely Snow White's character was butchered.
Okay, we got a couple donations that are on the topic. Let's see what Big Lo knows pop culture say. Thank you, Big Lo, for the love. He says, she's very outspoken, and I get it. She deserves an opinion like everybody, but she definitely wasn't helping the situation. Everyone doesn't need to know about your political views. The movie was fine. Bigelow said the movie was fine. He also understands. I agree with that. Yes. Just because you have free speech, there's a difference between free speech and having repercussions for what you say. Yes, there's free speech. But if you say, I hate Jews, or I hate N-words, or I hate white people, yeah, you have free to say that, but also the consequences that come from that. And there is no protection against hate speech either. So, there's a lot of things that people can't say that She clearly didn't have her PR training before taking this role. Power Spy in one game
and again,
says.
like,
Power Spy in one game says Rachel drove people away due to her early comments. Gal drove people away from being pro-Israel stance, and she sucks. And Disney is Disney. DOA film, dead on arrival film. Let's break that down for a second.
I agree with that.
I don't.
I mean,
here's why.
I
Here's
think
why.
it was
Gal is going to piss people off for saying, let's go back to her statement. I don't want to misquote. Never did I imagine that on the streets of the United States and different cities around the world, we would see people not condemning Hamas, but celebrating, justifying, and cheering the massacre of Jews. I agree with that. I think that's terrible. They are celebrating and doing the massacre of Jews. They are doing that. I see it all over the news. I see it all over the freaking internet. It's crazy. It's wild to me. They're doing it. They're absolutely doing it. But that statement, which is me, which I'm unbiased, Gal didn't say nothing wrong here. I'm shocked by it too. Freaking Harvard University, what's the other university getting shut down, losing its money because you got people bullying people and burning freaking places? Shit is crazy. So yes, saying that shit, chanting death to Jews, that's you don't want death to anyone, like to anyone. But I do understand some people are radical, and there are so many people that read this who are pro Palestine who hate this, because let's be honest, I've had subscribers who are Palestinian. I have some who are Jewish. Palestinians hate Jewish people to the depths of the earth. And then after that, Jewish people hate Palestinians to the depths of the earth. And after that, they hate each other. They're taught to hate each other from adolescence. That hate goes biblical back thousands of years, bro. That hate is real. It's the purest on the planet. That ain't never going nowhere. So Gal saying that automatically pissed off pro-Palestinian people in this country. But what I would argue is that what Rachel Zegler said with her tweet, remember, free Palestine, that is more detrimental in this country than anywhere around the world. Because when you say free Palestine in the response to what the Jewish people have gone through with the October 7th attack, now you're coming off as a lot of people put Palestine and Hamas together, because you see Hamas with Palestine in the chants, in the riots, in the celebrations, in the protests. You're meshing them. They're trying to mesh them together when they're not. Some Palestinians are Palestinians, and then Hamas are a terrorist organization. Terrorist organizations are evil and should be eradicated. But there are Palestinian people that believe in and support Hamas. That does exist. So when she said that, she's going to piss off. What is Rachel Zegler? Who is she pissing off when she says free Palestine? Jews. Who runs Hollywood? Jews. How many millions of people are here that are Jews? How many Jewish people are in this country? Millions of them. And that's not it. Add more to that fire. What did she say about Republicans? Let's go back. There is a deep sickness in this country made Trump supporters and Trump voters and Trump himself never know peace. Now you got half of the country, 200 million people plus, who don't like what you said. That is way more people that are pissed off at Snow White than it is for what Gal said. Gal said something that pissed people off. Yes, I agree. Rachel said some shit that pissed off way more people.
Jody, you're speaking facts right now. I totally agree with you 100%. I think that to put what Rachel said next to what Gal said, I think definitely that Rachel went off the hooks with what she said. And I think that, again, I think it pissed the most amount of people. Like, I don't think it's fair to compare when people say that, oh, both of them. I mean, I agree that I don't think if you're promoting a movie, you should leave politics out of it 100%. But to say that, to put at the same level what Gal said and what Zegler said,
crazy
I don't
word.
remember, but I think recently, like a report came out that said that, or something, or an article, something from somebody who worked at Disney. It literally said, hey, like she was like a PR nightmare for us because she just kept talking.
Yes.
And I mean, I agree with that. But what I'm trying to say is that even though I agree that was basically pushed the movie off the cliff, I think a lot of people were already expecting it to be a bad movie based on what Disney has done with the remakes.
Of course.
So that's basically my stance on it.
Oh yeah, I'll agree with that.
But I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. Like, you know, to say that what Gal said compares to what Zegler said, I don't think that's factual. I don't think that's true. I think she was the main reason the movie fell off a cliff. Yeah. And I just think Gal's paying for it.
Yes, she is. Gal's taking an L. She deserves a piece of the L for what she said about the prince not being here. But most of this L is Rachel's 100%. And
I agree.
The only reason why we went this far in the discussion is because, once again, the number one reason why this movie flopped, you said because they changed the story.
Yeah, I would say 100%. Okay. That was the main reason.
All right, well, we'll just disagree on that one. I appreciate you saying your opinion and standing by it, bro. It's always a pleasure, Josh, when you call in, dog.
Thank you, Jody. Have a good night, man.
All right, brother, for sure. Josh brings the fire. Josh brings the fire. What's up with it? You live with Jody Joe. Talk to me.
Hey, Jody, what's up? It's Darius.
Man, I don't even know if I want to talk to you, bro. You a fanboy, bro. The stuff you be saying on Patreon, you a scrub fanboy, bro. You don't have none of that energy when you talk to me on the phone, though. You be typing on page. You just like them dweebs. You type some shit like, man, you don't read no comics. You don't know what you're talking about. Man, say that shit to my my ear. You full of shit.
Hey, you don't know what you're talking about.